Coverkiller Nation, welcome back. I know it's been a while, but believe me, the rest was needed. But it is now time for another great day of metal, not to mention another album review. And what better to really kick off a post-vacation lull that could be easily, that can easily cause you to not want to come back to doing the things that you want to do or go back to work, but an album that makes you, or should I say, reinforces why you do what you do. And that album is going to be Weather Systems by Anathema. Now, for those of you who aren't necessarily new to the fold, you guys know that this isn't the first time that I have reviewed an Anathema disc. I reviewed their last one here because we're here on the old Coverkiller channel, back before it was, deceased. Actually, no, come to think of it, that's on this channel. Well, whatever, doesn't matter. Anathema has been one of these bands that has been able to kind of change their sound up throughout their time frame and has still maintained a lot of their fan base, while some still may prefer one side to the other. That's just kind of natural. However, this is a band that has certainly done its best to retain its fan base and really keep their audiences engaged with really interesting albums, not to mention very personal albums. And this second wave, the second generation of Anathema records that we've gotten in the 2000s and now in the 2010s is certainly an exhibition in pure emotion, and that's something that they kind of wanted to move a little bit closer toward. So instead of being of a darker metal variety, they've now pushed the boundaries, pushed the envelope to post-rock, to alternative metal, so to speak, and the whole entire experience has created for some elegant progressive compositions and just some fantastic moments. And I precede this album review with that information because Weather Systems is a brilliant exhibition of all that I just said and more. This is an album that has a true character to it, a true heartbeat to it, and it is exhibited right from the very first couple of songs on the album, the untouchable duality that you get right whenever it's kicking off the record. These are just beautiful, beautiful lyrics, not to mention vocals that are performed. There's a male and female kind of clash right there that is perfectly balanced out. However, at the same time, it really just kind of expresses everything with the proper amount of emotion and the proper amount of heart. There's nothing here that feels like it's forced. There's nothing here that feels like it is over the top necessarily. It feels though it is pure, almost as though these two vocalists were acting as though they were actors and that they were not trying to oversell the character or anything like that. But vocally, it is a magnificent affair. Musically, it is a very, very different affair for some of the people that maybe haven't listened to Anathema here in quite some time. This is a very soft Anathema, however, there's a bit of an orchestral part to that as well. This is something that's tuned down a little bit of a post-rock edge to it. Definitely not the Anathema that you may remember from the 1990s. However, that's not necessarily a bad thing, not at all, because they've been doing this for quite some time. And if you have not listened to them in like 20 years, then the fuck, man. But at any rate, this album conveys emotion better than the entire emo genre. In fact, this is something where this actually bothers me. This actually bothers me because one of the best words that I'm using to describe this album is emotional, pure emotion. And some people may misconstrue that to mean that this is an emo record. And the funny thing is even though emo stands for emotional, and I'm saying the word emotional, these are on two opposite fucking ends of the spectrum. That's what makes me upset. The emo genre couldn't touch this album if it tried. The emo genre could sit there collectively, all of them together, and try to write music as passionate, as heartfelt, and as real as this album, Weather Systems by Anathema, is able to boast and able to do on a track-by-track basis, not just on one track. I'm asking the entire emo genre just to do this for one track. Anathema does it for a whole fucking record. This isn't the reason why the term emo for the emo genre is such a misnomer. In reality, it's I want to kill myself slice, slice, slice genre. It's not passion, it's not love or hate, it's not energy, it's not pure, raw, unadulterated feeling. is what I guess I'm getting at. And if I were Anathema, I'd sue the entire genre for, I don't know, being ridiculous. I'm not sure if that'd hold up in a court of law, but maybe you can set a statute or, some sort of law and set that into motion to sue somebody for ridiculosity. I think that would lead to more frivolous lawsuits. Shit. Double-edged sword. But at any rate, Weather Systems by Anathema is able to convey this emotion on such a raw energy and a raw plateau that it just seems almost overwhelming at some points. Die-hard metal fans are openly confessing on chat rooms, on message boards and the like, that this is an album that reduced them to tears. Now, am I going to do such a thing? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave that to your imagination, whether or not it brought me to tears. You might claim that it would help the review for me to say that it did, but I like the element of surprise. This album also has a very interesting story to it. It definitely seems like this is progressing towards through somebody's life from the moment in which they meet the person that they fall in love with, all the way until their death, which is what everybody considers to be the ideal situation for the ending of love, although love is supposed to last forever. The interesting part about this album is that it starts off very much akin to that whole love idea, which is very true towards how young people kind of feel whenever they meet that person and are around that person. But whenever you get to the end, it focuses a lot more on death. It focuses on the fear. It focuses a lot on a near-death experience. You hear a spoken word of a near-death experience on the very final track, and it's just a very, very interesting ride from track number 1 all the way to track number 9. This is 55 minutes of your time that is definitely not wasted. It's in fact very well spent listening to an excellent piece of music, and it's something that I highly recommend. This is an album that really is up there along with bands such as Alcest that making just spellbindingly beautiful music, seemingly album after album, and constantly taking the bar higher. Weather Systems proves to me that Anathema is not at all getting to any point in their career that could be considered to be a lull period. Some people were a little bit polarized about We're Here Because We're Here, but this album is going to be met with a lot of acclaim. And I'm going to give it a lot of acclaim because it is just phenomenal. There are moments on this album that will take your breath away. There are moments on this album that will rip your heart out. And, you know, the funny thing is that whenever you say it about an album like this, you're okay with it. You're not feeling like it's making you less of a man, because this is something that just takes you on a ride that you can't describe, and these emotions kind of outpour from you. They're not emotions that just senselessly pour anyway. I'm going to give this album a 9. This is a really, really good affair. In fact, it's a great affair. Good is just not a good enough adjective. And I highly recommend it to all of you guys. And I will see you guys next time. CKN is back, baby.